Welcome to the BNI Knox podcast, helping members in the Knoxville, Tennessee region grow their business and make more money through the power of referrals. Now, here's your host, Andy Brassfield and Curtis Johnston.
Hello and welcome again to BNI podcast, Knox BNI podcast.
BNI Knox.
Maybe you should do this. Welcome to BNI Knox, the podcast for the East Tennessee region. Don't let me riff like this. I'm going to blow it. I'm Curtis Johnston with Andy Brassfield.
The one-take wonder.
We're doing it all in one take. We're coming to you live recorded from the Mike Fuller Realty and Company studios.
I was wondering where you were going with the live recorded business.
Well, by the time they listen to it, it won't be live anymore. Thank you, Robert, for setting this up over here at the studios. Produced by Front Porch Media. Thank you to Darren for everything you do, making us look good. This episode is sponsored by Megan
Murphy Boutwell.
Over at Her Legacy Designs.
Her Legacy Designs.
I'm getting it all right.
Yes.
I'll get there eventually.
Yes.
So thank you, Megan, for all you do for us. So on this particular episode, Andy, we wanted to talk about Member Extravaganza, which is coming up. It's going to be April and May, and we're kicking it off really right now, to be honest with you. So we're excited about that. Why don't you give us the 10,000-foot level of what Member Extravaganza is, and then we'll dive a little deeper.
Well, as you might imagine, BNI is actually a seasonal business, and we found that the months of April and May are the best times for recruiting new members.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Okay.
And therefore, for I don't know how many years, BNI has had the Member Extravaganza to help as it's a member drive. It's a membership drive.
Okay.
That's what it is.
All right.
But it's a specific period of April and May, and there is a prize that is attached to it. So that makes it interesting.
Like a pen or a mug or something, or some
cruise to the Bahamas.
Get out of town.
A cruise for 2, 5 days, 4 nights to the Bahamas. Absolutely.
Very nice. So a member wins it, and then you and I accompany them. Is that because there's 2 tickets, right? We get to go.
If you pay your way.
Okay.
You're welcome to go right along.
All right. So tell us. Let's just focus on the prize for a moment. So if the prize is the cruise, how do we win the cruise?
It's by sponsoring new members.
Okay.
So for every new member that you sponsor,
right,
or that's you members.
You, the listener.
For every new member that you sponsor, your name gets entered into the drawing for the cruise.
And when you say sponsor, that's someone who has visited a chapter and then says, this is fantastic, I'm joining. So it's actually, we've sponsored somebody who has joined, and they've written the sponsor's name on there. So when Megan sponsors somebody and they come and they visit, how important is it that the name is attached?
If they don't put anything in that space on the member application,
got it.
Then no member gets credit for that. Or maybe if they actually put the wrong name.
Okay.
So I'm encouraging when you invite someone and they visit your chapter,
right,
before you hand them the application, if you're the one that invited them, write your name where it says sponsor.
Sure.
And then go ahead and put an X down at the bottom and say sign here.
Well, in our chapter, in the NRG chapter, we have a visitor host team that goes out into the hallway with our visitors, and that's where the exchange is happening with the application and what it takes and the benefits of BNI. So it would be important for me to then go and follow up with that visitor team and say, hey, I just want to let you know this person came from us or together.
Okay,
so
now
we know.
You're beginning to tread on thin ice here, but let's be very careful here to describe what this looks like.
Okay.
It's the applicant filling out the application and signing the bottom.
Of course.
Right?
Right.
So whoever's name is on the application in the sponsor field.
Okay.
So we can't go back on an application that has already been completed and signed
And start throwing names in
and
there.
then write somebody's name in because Curtis said he invited. Well, I don't know about you, Curtis, but me personally, when I was invited to BNI, I had actually previously been invited by another member of the same chapter.
Okay.
And after I joined, the first member he was joking with me a little bit. He, don't you remember I invited you?
Oh, gotcha.
You didn't come when I invited you. You came when somebody else.
Yeah.
We were having good, clean fun, right?
Right.
But you can see how it can get a little bit muddy because sometimes more than one person will invite, we have to ask the applicant
Who sponsored you?
to decide who sponsors them, and write that name in, who invited them.
Right.
So it's really important, if you're serious about getting your name in the drawing, by inviting and sponsoring a new member.
Just make sure your name is on the application.
Make sure your name is on that application.
All right, very good. Well, that's fantastic to know. Let's go to the idea that I sponsor somebody, so I get a ticket that goes into the raffle. I get one person and the ticket goes in. Is that how it works?
Yeah, one ticket per member that you sponsor. So if you sponsor one, then you get one ticket in the drawing. But if you sponsor 3 or 5 or 6 or 10, however many people you sponsor during the period, will go in the drawing. And so the period again is April to May,
Correct.
And then we have the drawing in mid-June.
Okay.
I think we're scheduled to have the drawing like June 18 this year. But mid-June is when the drawing occurs. Now, let's look back at last year. Because this was something I found out as I was talking to members. Members didn't realize what a small pool we had.
A pool of what?
A pool of names to draw out of the hat to go to the Bahamas on the cruise.
Well, I'm sure the trip is like a nationwide trip, right? So BNIs across the country are throwing all their names in. So my chance is like 1 in a million.
So every region can decide whether they want to participate, right?
Okay.
But the drawing and the contest itself is in-house. It's in our region. It's just our 21 chapters.
It's the people who are under Andy Brasfield. Somebody in there is going to win a cruise for 2.
Provided that we meet the qualifications, yes, somebody in our region is going on the cruise.
Okay, with me.
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
Cool. Now, you said as long as we meet the requirements.
There are qualifications.
Tell me about that.
All right, as a region to qualify, we need a minimum of 3 chapters to add 6 new members during Member Extravaganza. So there's your minimum qualification.
We need 6 chapters.
3 chapters.
To do
6 members each.
And then that region is now qualified to get the cruise.
Now the region is qualified. Now, in those chapters that met the minimum of 6, those are the names that go in the hat. So let's look back on last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we get to fade? Do we do like a do-do-do?
Last year, we had 3 chapters that qualified.
They added 6.
And they each did, in fact, add 6.
Okay.
It wasn't like one added 6 and one added 7 or one added 10. They actually, in fact, all 3 added 6, the minimum. So we had 18 names in the hat for the drawing.
Okay.
So you had your odds of winning if you were in one of the 3 chapters and you had sponsored a member.
Yeah.
Your odds were at least 1 in 18 of winning.
You say at least 1 in 18.
Because some people did sponsor more than one member, so their name got into the hat according to the number of times, the number of members they sponsored. For every member you sponsor, you get your name put into the drawing.
So if I sponsor 6 members, my name goes in there 6 times?
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you represent all 6, for your chapter, and there's not anybody else. We're talking hypothetically.
Right.
And then there's only 2 other chapters like there were last year.
Right.
You get a 1 in 3 chance of winning the cruise.
Man,
all expenses paid, airfare down there and back. I think, does it take off in Miami? I see you're looking at the flyer.
Yeah, right here I got the flyer. Set sail on Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas. Winners receive a 5-day, 4-night cruise to the Bahamas and the Royal Caribbean. Perfect day at Coco Cay Private Island. Departs Miami, Florida. Includes airfare for 2.
Yes.
Now that tells me they're flying me from Knoxville, because again, I'm winning. They're flying me from Knoxville.
Yes.
Down. Now this isn't like if you do the podcast, you can't win, right?
No, this is not one of those.
Okay, good.
It's not one of those.
So they're flying me from Knoxville.
I personally can't win, but the rest of you can.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe somebody will take you if they don't like me.
I'm not going to be able to go.
All right. Well, then, so that's what we want to do. Obviously, we want to invite. We want to win. Tell me, how do you do it? How do you invite visitors? Which ones? Kind of touch on that just a little bit in case someone's listening just to this podcast.
Yeah. So the first thing you want to do is you want to consider when you're inviting people to visit your chapter, is this person really a candidate for membership or not? So,
Right.
if you're inviting someone to a Friday morning chapter, and I spoke to someone just recently who had visited a Friday morning chapter, and he said, that was one of those weird days when I didn't have to take my daughter to school. I normally have to take my daughter to school on Fridays, and Fridays were not a good day for him.
Okay.
So therefore, he's not a candidate for membership in a Friday morning chapter.
Long term, correct?
Right. He was great for visiting, and visitors are great. But if
Right.
you're looking to get your name in the hat for the cruise, you need people that are going to apply for membership
Find people that fit.
and join, that are going to be
Yeah,
accepted.
yeah.
So think about it from that point of view. We're not just looking to get bodies in the room.
Right.
We're looking to get people to apply for membership here.
Right.
So start with people who can actually join your chapter.
Okay. And then as far as maybe having a visitor day, or this is a membership drive in itself, is it okay for chapters to say, well, let's use this as a reason to have a visitor day? Is that okay?
Well, in fact, let's take it there and farther. Is
Okay.
that we want every chapter to do a visitor day.
Oh, nice.
Yes, so that's our goal.
Okay.
Is to see that every one of our 21 chapters in the region is able to put on a visitor day during Member Extravaganza to help to push us onto meeting our goals.
Okay. Very, very good. And then the types of people to invite, we typically already covered. Invite people who are candidates for good membership. So if you have a real estate agent, it may not be a good idea to invite a realtor, financial planner, et cetera. But when you get into some of those fringe, I think we've called them outliers in the past. So if you've got like a social media guy or an IT guy or a health and fitness guy, they may be able to actually work together. We've brought up the IT example in the past. So don't feel like I can't invite them because I already have this person in the chapter. But for the purpose of the contest, people actually have to join. So just kind of keep that in mind.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I want to give a shout out to Her Legacy Designs.
Oh, good time to do that.
Yes, absolutely. So we have with us today a T-shirt. No, it's not just a T-shirt.
It's a long sleeve, I believe.
It's a long sleeve type of a tee.
Dad, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. So this is one of her designs that she's done, and like I want to always point out the fact that Her Legacy Designs customizes. So
Okay.
so like if you wanted to have a shirt done, you could have Curtis on your shirt. She could do it. She could do it in a real cool color, really a neat font or something.
Right.
Or maybe you want to recognize somebody in your BNI chapter and buy them
There you go.
a shirt. Maybe they've passed a huge referral and you want to get them a big shirt and put referral
like
of the
that
month on
idea.
it. Yeah, we're just kind of brainstorming here some ideas. That she can put on shirts. And the cool thing about Her Legacy Design is that they don't do large runs.
Yeah, she specializes in the smaller runs.
Specializes in the small. So, if you wanted to have 1 or 5 or 10 of a product, you could have them all 5 the same, or you could have them each individual different.
Correct.
If you were trying to recognize or acknowledge maybe a client, maybe
Yeah.
you're a real estate agent and you sign up a new client for their homeowners, car insurance, life insurance on all the kids,
Right.
and you want to buy a T-shirt or a long sleeve shirt for every family member and put their name on the back of it.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff she does.
She does that.
And it's
stuff.
not just T-shirts. We've talked in some past episodes about coffee cups and signs and cutting boards and mugs, whatever you want to put a logo on, we can do it.
Right, gift ideas.
Yeah, gift ideas, corporate gifts. When you win the cruise, you can have cups made.
When you
that say
win the
"Won
cruise, I want a custom T-shirt.
I like it. I like it. By the way, watching you fold that T-shirt was painful. Do you do the laundry at your house?
No.
Okay, I could do that. I could have guessed that one.
You don't. Yeah, you don't want to know about that.
All right, so now back to the cruise, back to Visitor Day. We're looking to find members who can actually join our club. We want them to visit. We want them to have a good time, a great experience, put our names on the application, and then we're entered into the drawing.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things that I want you to look at is why, other than the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, sometimes people are motivated by competition and they're motivated by the opportunity to win a prize. Some people aren't. Okay, let's just be straight about it.
Right.
So I want to ask you, do you really care about your fellow BNI members?
Are you asking me or the listener? I'm going to say yes, because I know they're listening.
Yes, it's a loaded question, right?
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. And if you really do care about your fellow BNI members, then why don't you look around the room and figure out who's having a good experience, but who could have a better experience?
Yeah.
So say your chapter is heavy on trades.
Most are.
Electrician, plumber, roofer, contractor, power washer.
Right.
Who else is in trades? And they're all having a great time because they're all passing business back and forth. They're being business partners.
It's a solid contact
It's
sphere.
a solid contact sphere.
Yeah.
In that same chapter, what about your health and wellness people?
Oh, good question. Maybe there's only 2 or 3 in there.
Maybe you have a chiropractor and a essential oils.
Correct.
But there's nobody else in their contact sphere doing health and wellness.
Right.
So are they having as good of an experience in BNI as the tradespeople in that scenario?
Well, I don't know if they're making as many connections, possibly. Of course, they give us their ad. In my chapter, NRG, we actually have a chiropractor, Dr. Ryan, and essential oils, Jen Corbin, and they ask us for leads, and of course, we give them referrals, which is great. But I see your point. How much fun are they having? Could it be better? Because I would imagine you add a third person in there.
Yeah.
You're not growing those contacts by a third, right? It grows exponentially.
Yeah, absolutely. So what if we look at their experience and say, I want to help you be successful. I'm concerned about your business. Now, how can I help? Maybe you could bring a physical therapist. Maybe you could bring a massage therapist.
Yeah.
Or
dermatologist.
Dermatologist, audiologist.
I'm sorry?
Audiologist.
A what?
Yes.
I love that one.
There's so many things you can bring to that health and wellness contact sphere to help build up those members, because we're not just being selfish.
Right.
If we're in a contact sphere where there's plenty of business going around, we're fat and happy. But what about those in our chapter who are still hungry?
All right, so brainstorming, right? Just a couple of guys talking here. Let's use it's possible a chapter could use the member extravaganza, the 2 months of April and May. They find the contact sphere within their chapter. I always want to say club. That's in their chapter that's the smallest. So for me, it would be the health and wellness. It would be Jen and Dr. Ryan. So our chapter could spend this 2 months as we're landing visitors, but we focus on the smallest contact sphere that we have.
We're going to rally around them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So use that idea of, do I really care about my fellow members and their experience?
Yes. And then
what if they're hungry? What if I'm fat and happy?
Right.
They're hungry. What am I going to do with that? Am I just going to say, you're on your own? Or am I going to say, how can I help you? Who can I bring? And then let's work on bringing them.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff. I really like that.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
So that's Member Extravaganza for you.
I think it's fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing all of your knowledge with us.
Really excited about it.
I'll see if I can't close us down better than I opened us up. Again, shout out to Her Legacy Designs for sponsoring this episode. Front Porch Media is putting all this together, and they're doing a great job.
Amen.
Go back and look at the past ones that we've done, and then go look at the ones that are coming up. They're going to be even better. Thanks again to Robert Smith at Mike Fuller Realty and Company for putting this room together for us. Do you have any closing thoughts, Andy?
Invite.
Invite. The key word is invite. I'm Curtis Johnston along with Andy Brassfield. Thanks for joining us.
See ya.